Is that your scotch from earlier?
That is my scotch from like 5 hours ago.
You got 4 fucking drinks in front of you.
I have... Because you brought one.
You told me to. You told me to
Alright.
bring you a drink.
I'll finish one.
Yeah, finish one.
My scotch.
Finish the scotch off. Tell us what the scotch is, real quick, before
It is Glenlivet 14, I think.
Yeah, just do it in a shot to piss
Because I
people
think I
off.
like 14 better than 15.
Just shoot it to piss everyone
All right,
off.
at least clink me for...
I'll clink you for it. He just shotted a 14-year-old scotch. I hope that pissed everyone. I mean, I will say there wasn't much left. There was only like maybe 2 swallows left. But
Quarter of a glass left, yeah.
he just finished up your scotch. You still got 3 more drinks. I mean, I got 2 drinks in front of me. So
I finished it all.
You finished off the scotch. You got 2 high lifes and a whiskey sour. I got a whiskey sour and 1 high life.
Because I had no...
I mean, dude, I will say, dude, I'm kind of judging you on your drinks, but to be honest, you kind of have to have them because it's a moist.
It's a Moist
Moist
Monday. I mean, where are we at? Moist Monday.
Yeah. What do you expect? It's a moist Monday.
I hope you all are also enjoying your Moist Mondays. Well,
What was that? A must Monday? You want to try that one again, buddy?
I hope you're all enjoying your Moist Mondays along with us because
Because it's fun.
it's a Moist Monday.
Welcome back to the Moist Monday podcast. I am Robert. That is Jacob.
This is Jacob.
I
Thank
pointed
you for
to him.
listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Welcome to the Moist Monday podcast. So I'm just going to jump right into it. This is another episode. Thanks for listening. Jacob has an ego.
I sure do, bud.
Let's talk about it. I think it'd be fun to talk about. You didn't expect this.
I did not. Okay, what do you have to talk about it with?
I'm just curious because I've been friends with you for a long time.
Forever, yeah.
And you've always had this. I mean, I feel like the ego is a lot bigger in our newest friendship than it was earlier.
It's a bit
But you
more.
always-
It's a bit more stationary, as in the subject matter is always the same on what it
What does
pertains
that
to.
mean? I feel like you have an ego just no matter what nowadays. But back in the day, I mean, you've always had confidence, and confidence is
Sure,
an ego thing.
yeah.
But like, where did the ego stem from? Like, how can you give me some of your ego? Can you give me some of your confidence?
Okay, I mean, I would say today's ego, which is the same as most days' ego, I think I mainly gained it because
Because you're drinking.
no,
You
I mean
liquid courage.
I mean, I'm sure that's part of it.
But you always have an ego, even when you're sober.
But as far as the idea of you touching my ego means you're reaching on the limits of my perspective. Does that make
that
sense?
sounded really cool.
Did it?
It
No.
sounded really cool, but what?
So I guess I'm not sure if I'm describing it properly.
Yeah,
but
I
most
touched
of
your ego on the edges of your limits.
My
It's like
perspective.
that's like a sexual. Like, what the fuck? Are we edging right now? Like,
so I guess the idea of ego means how much of me can you physically touch, but not
all of you.
I guess that means literally not physically, but like I have buried myself in ego based off of the factor of the idea of freak show.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
that's what I classify myself
Yeah, but
as.
you have an ego out of freak show.
I mean the
You have an ego. You have an ego.
the ego I've always had, which has always been circumstantial.
What does that mean?
As in, I think I'm so smart, determined by who the smartest person in the conversation is.
Yeah, you have. One thing I will say is you have to win.
I like to win. The ego determines.
You have to win.
No, so the ego determines the idea of I have to win, but like if there's someone who can beat me, which there often is nowadays,
Is
means
there? I've never seen you get beat.
I mean, the idea behind that is that I'm the smartest in the room, which often I am not.
Your ego always shines through.
I've become a dick in my
close circle.
In a way, besides the fact that I know that some of my close circle is way smarter than me.
But I know that about you, and I just think it's funny. But it also does.
It is. I would agree. It's funny how full of myself I've been in the past, as I am now. But like,
But also, it's a confidence and it's a comfortable thing.
sure,
Like part of being an ego, part of having an ego is not caring and just, oh, how you doing?
So
what's
here-
up? Let me say this word right now. Oh, you've never heard of that word? That's boom. Gotcha.
So here goes my least likable podcast persona as the comfortable douchebag, I guess.
Yeah, but it's part of you.
No, it's been part of me for sure.
I think it's always been a part of you. Like even in high school, you had an ego.
In a
it was a
way.
different type of ego. It was a confidence.
It was the understanding. So in high school, I was less than cool, but I was still kind of cool. If that makes sense.
You weren't a popular kid, but you were still.
I was recognized.
Yeah, you were recognized.
Yeah. No, that all came from me being in a band. So
Which you played 2 shows in.
right, yeah, no, my band not technically
And
popular.
the ego is so
okay,
big he's
wait,
still
wait.
holding on to that.
No,
shit.
this is
10
part
years
of
later.
This is part of it.
Okay, keep it going.
The band I played was not technically popular, but the idea of us were, because we only played 2 shows, but it was 2.
So you were bigger than life.
So it was
Wait,
2
wait, hang
sold
on, hang
out
on.
shows.
Didn't NSYNC say it best? Larger than life.
That might be part of it. Yeah.
That's a good one.
So no.
I-
So the idea of the band I was in high school is we played 2 shows, and we were meant to premiere at prom,
Oh, you guys are gonna play at prom.
but I didn't attend. So the idea was
The whole band, but did the band play?
no. The rest of the band was there, but we were like, hey, we didn't show up, so we weren't good enough, or we didn't reach that. So part of it was like the idea that the 2 bands we played with both played at prom. So in our high school, we were kind of beyond that as a bullshit reason, purely because I didn't show up.
So you were supposed to play and you bailed?
Yeah, because I didn't go to our prom.
That's
So
that's
we-
the opposite of an ego. That's a shitty thing.
No, so you listing that as my ego is what I'm remaining as not correct.
I'm just saying you had an ego and you brought up a fucking shitty thing you did.
No,
Like,
you
this
said
is-
I've had my ego since high school.
You have, dude. You had this. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not the ego you have right now.
I don't
but
think
I
so.
definitely think it started and evolved in high school. Is like
So I'm showing the evolution of my ego
you had
throughout high school.
You had this charisma, and this might not even be an ego thing, but I think ego definitely ties into like
charismatic. yes.
charismatic and confidence definitely ties into ego. Like the biggest.
So
the biggest. You can relate to this because you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
yes.
The biggest ego relation thing that I can picture is the episode of Community
Okay.
when Jeff Winger
yes.
is he's known to have an ego because
Yes.
he's confident because he thinks he's better than people, which
Right.
I think you do sometimes.
I did. Yes.
Which I do think you do now sometimes. But there's an episode where people keep feeding that.
yeah.
And he just keeps inflating, and the apple keeps growing, and that's the episode I think of. And every time I watch that episode, no joke, dude, I'm not making a joke. Every time I watch that episode, I think, man, that's kind of like Jacob.
So I found every jump of ego I could contact without actually like giving it option, if that makes sense.
No, you got to explain.
I don't know
You're
how
just saying words right now.
I'm saying as far as high school went,
No, I'm just saying, like, just in general. We can skip past high school.
but that's where it started.
It definitely started in high school.
That-
well, I also think maybe it started before high school.
I think-
I might be digging.
I think
deep.
you gave me credit before high school.
What I'm gonna bring this up real quick. I think we brought this up prior in the podcast, but
Yes.
I'm gonna bring this up. I might be giving you more credit than you should, but I think like the stuff you dealt with your sister
Okay.
growing up, it gave you like you had because she got all the attention when that was happening.
Sure. When my sister had leukemia is what you're talking.
I didn't want to say that, but
No, but
okay,
say it.
yeah, let's say okay. So Jacob's sister had leukemia growing up.
She's fine now.
Yeah,
It's fine.
she survived. It was great, but I feel like during that point, you know, obviously when a sibling has cancer, all the attention goes to that. Jacob's the youngest child.
So I use
Jacob's the youngest child, so I definitely think like
it was an absence of attention.
it was
in
an
that.
absence of attention. So then you had to regain attention. Like this. I'm digging
No,
deep right
I'm
now.
intrigued by this
I think
aspect.
I think it's kind of where it started, and it definitely has evolved and grown. But I do think because the youngest child usually in normal stories, normal circumstances, gets all the attention, gets all the love.
Right.
But in your circumstance,
It was the
You
opposite.
might have initially, and then
Mitigated it. Yes.
then
So
it-
I get where you're coming from, and I can talk about that. So when I was probably 14,
yeah,
when like a lot of people start their
puberty.
their outlook on adult life, my oldest sister, who would have been 17 at that time,
Yeah, like a junior or senior in high school.
was diagnosed with leukemia. Later on in this diagnosis, it turns out my middle-aged sister, who was 15, 16 at the time, was a perfect match to save her.
And you were just a third child.
I was just there.
You were just existing. So,
So-
you had. So it's like you also feel helpless. You feel like a piece of
So,
shit because
yes.
you can't help your sister.
Okay,
like,
so as
yeah, it's
the
a lot of
youngest
stuff.
child during that aspect, I was desperate for any sort of attention.
And obviously you're bottom of the barrel at that point.
But I was reluctant to try to get it from my parents because they were so hyper focused on my two siblings, respectively.
So that's why you got all the tattoos.
No, so that
We're going.
So I remember at that time was a perspective was I was like, okay, so I have to be funny.
You got to stand out somewhere.
That was an active thought during
You
that
really
time.
had that thought? You
Yes,
were like, I gotta
because
be
I have a story that records
Dude, I
that.
don't think we've ever talked about this.
No, I don't think I've ever talked about it
Because
with
I
you.
feel like we're both really funny.
Yeah,
And I,
sure. No,
What do you mean, sure? We are.
As far as
At least
a production
Okay,
goes,
you're not
we
funny,
can't
I am.
diagnose us as funny, but yes,
no.
we try to
no,
be
I
as
mean,
funny
like,
as possible.
I know. I mean, like separate. Like we're both funny people.
We try to be.
We
yes.
like making jokes.
No,
we like.
yeah, that is our callback. Is trying to be like, hey, we're funny. So
It is cool that I'm very curious to hear the origin story of funny.
So I remember at this time, a student counselor had reached out to me being like, hey, are you okay? And they had kept going on and on about this, where they kept pulling me out of class to be like, hey, are you all right? We know this big thing is going
I
for
mean,
you.
because that's a huge.
Sure, my sisters are going through cancer.
I went through that the same thing. It's a huge fucking thing, dude. It's,
Yeah.
It's especially when you're at that age. You're young. I mean, I was in junior high when it happened to me. Like it's like a.
And I had just reached junior high when it happened to me. Yes.
Oh really?
I would have been 8th grade. Yeah.
I think mine happened in 7th grade.
So,
So we were similar age groups where like you're mature enough to know what is happening, but not mentally mature enough to
to know the concept of what is happening.
and you
yeah.
don't really know how to process it.
No, so I remember the guidance counselor kept bugging me. At one point, I was like, with how my sister's reacting, I don't know if I can handle myself. I've thought about just killing myself. And she
You
was like,
said that?
I said this as a throwaway because I was so annoyed of this counselor.
Oh, because she kept bringing you in.
And she was like, are you serious? I'm like, no. And that was the end of it. No,
you
so-
just threw away the suicide
So
joke.
I remember being so annoyed that this counselor kept expecting me to be suicidal. I gave it to her.
She wanted.
And she grasped on it. I was like, nah, just kidding.
I'm
And
just
she
kid-
she was like, what the fuck are you saying? I'm like, exactly what you want me to say.
Yeah, you.
And then
That.
and
that
then
is
she
weird.
never talked to me
That
again.
is weird that counselor was trying to like.
She was trying to reach her aspect of the situation.
She was trying to reach her goal of being
Understanding,
of
yes.
being a therapist and a counselor, but you can't force people into that.
No, because I was a
You can't
stupid
force people-
13-year-old who was just annoyed he was pulled out of math class because I'm going to be dumber in math from here on out.
Yeah, you can't force
Stop
people
trying to-
into therapy.
Stop telling me I need to understand this while understanding my emotions while my sister has cancer. My sister having cancer is a completely separate issue.
Yeah, let me just solve the Pythagorean theorem, which you know 100%.
No,
For
so
that in a prior episode.
So my math teacher kept, she separated me, as in my sister having cancer was an issue, which it was in my family. But because of what my parents told me, I was understood of, oh, my blood type does not match this issue. It is not my issue. I fucking hope and pray my sister solves this issue while I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, because you can't do anything with
But
it.
they kept asking me how I feel about it. And there is no answer. So
That's
I
'cause
So
you
I
feel,
gave them
you feel a lot of things.
Yeah, so
but
I
as a
gave
junior,
them.
But
I
as
gave
a
them
junior
the
high school,
throwaway of like, oh, maybe I'll want to kill myself just to shut you
Jesus.
the fuck up. No, that was it. I wasn't emo before this. I was emo to shut you the fuck up.
No, but
so
like-
you'd stop asking me my perspective.
I get what
and
you're
let
saying.
my sister have cancer and let the other sister cure it. Well, I am helplessly trying to understand the math you are teaching me, among other issues.
I get.
Yeah.
I get why the counselor was trying to help you.
I understand
and I get,
every
and
aspect,
I get,
yeah.
I get your reaction, and I get like. Because you're in junior high,
I'm
your brain
unaware.
isn't your brain isn't fully aware, but you're so overwhelmed.
Right.
That's what it is. Like you can't comprehend what is happening
Okay.
because it's something you've never thought of before. It's a new original thought in your brain that someone
sibling has
your
cancer.
sibling has cancer, and the fact that in your scenario that your other sister can save her and you have no fucking you can do nothing to save her.
Right,
That's
so-
so you're dealing with all these emotions that are new. Your brain's in development. There's so many things that you can't. Your
I'm
brain
unaware
you
of
short
who I
circuit.
am.
You
Yeah.
you short circuit, and I think I was in the same boat, dude.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you? You want me to show you the date?
So
yeah, you
let
finish
me,
yours.
Let me finish this because I remember the day I found out my sister had cancer. It was a rainy day. It was probably like a Monday or Tuesday.
Of course, it's a Monday.
And my parents took, because I got home first, and my parents, both of them took me to our living room, which we never sat.
Oh, so you were already home from school.
Yes, I remember. They sat me and they were like, hey, this is what your sister has. And
Was she like
She-
sick or something beforehand, or like what?
we had thought she had mono.
Okay, because she was sick for a while.
She had gotten somewhat sick and then
then they
went
took
to a
it-
doctor and they were going to do further. So when the idea of them furthering their diagnosis was, my other sister knew that cancer was maybe one of the options, and the sister who had it definitely knew. I don't specifically remembering cancer as an option. So I just remember that she wasn't feeling well, and my parents took me aside and they were like, hey, your sister has cancer. You can't do this and this and this with her. It's gonna be okay.
Can't smoke cigars in front of her.
No,
You can't-
the idea was like if you touch her, she'll be like way more bruised. She'll have
Yeah, she's very sensitive.
Shit like that, yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah,
And I remember I heard her get dropped off or come home
I can't imagine having cancer
at
just
that
in
age,
general, but in high school.
Yeah. So
Because I remember the shirts that were made.
yeah, no, I heard her get dropped off or her come home. I remember I ran outside. It was pouring rain, and I hugged her.
Oh, she got dropped off by the bus, or did she walk?
Or
she walked. Home.
or she drove home.
No.
Because she had a car
Oh,
at that
she
point.
definitely drove
So I don't
home
know
then.
if she got dropped off or drove home, but I remember I heard her come home and I ran out and I hugged her and it was a pouring rain. And she was like, hey, this is worse for my condition. Can we just go inside?
She literally
The
denied.
idea of us standing in the rain for another minute was worse for her to get infected. So that was my introduction. Was like,
Well,
oh shit, you're fucking this up already.
She denied your hug, which I've been in a situation.
No, like the idea of getting a hug in the rain can increase a cold. So she's like, hey, we should go inside.
No, I feel like it was just for her. Like
She was fresh to the diagnosis.
she was
as well,
fresh.
yeah.
So it was
So
just
she only knew the personal diagnosis of you're here, someone's here, they might have a cold.
I would definitely react weird too if someone came up randomly in the rain and hugged me and I'd be like, "Hey,
I should be out of the rain. Yeah.
I would react super weird, but I appreciate the support. In the moment, you can't appreciate the
No,
support. But
she's like, I need to get out of the rain.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is my fresh diagnosis.
Your-
I
your
appreciate
brain-
what you're doing.
Yeah, I
So that
totally
was-
get both sides.
So that was my first instance with cancers. I was the issue because I was holding her in the rain.
and you can't, you were the issue, and you can't help the issue.
Right. No, I was a dumb fucking 13, 12-year-old at the time.
and
yeah.
you're like, "What the? You've heard of cancer, but you're like, what? Is cancer in my family?"
right. Yeah. That's
This
insane.
episode's getting so heavy. We start
No.
with ego, and now we're going into cancer.
Right,
but-
because the person who had cancer at the time was 17,
That's
meant
so
still
young.
in high school, still
Yeah.
circulating in that group. The oldest
And
she knew of
and
was
we
18.
were- your sister and us too went to the biggest high school in the whole freaking
Yeah.
metro.
Yeah.
There's freaking the graduating class is like 500 people. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people at this school. And when you have that, news spreads fast.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of shit.
All right. So I don't know where we like touched versus. It was all about my ego.
No, I think we continue on this cancer talk though.
Because that kind of hurt my ego, which is part of the reason I have such a desperate one now, I would say. Is because I knew I had to be so unaware for so many years of my family. I think that's part of the reason I was like, hey, what if I'm a fucking freak show performer?
Is that why you went into Freak Show?
I think it's part of it.
I do want to dive into that, but I also want to continue the cancer.
I mean, the cancer only goes so far because
but I also have my
yeah,
cancer.
you have your own personal cancer
I think
story.
if we're talking about it, we gotta cross two bridges.
Okay, yeah. So let's tackle yours,
and then we go back
talk about how it affected us as not to say living people, but as far as it goes.
Maybe the
Okay,
your sister getting
we
cancer.
left off where I was when she had cancer. I was a dumb 15-year-old, and I had chemically found out my blood is not the one to solve it.
Yeah, that's a heavy thing to solve.
Well, because also I feel so, and like my family still makes fun of me to this point about the day I found out I had to get a blood test because I was probably 14, 90 pounds, and I had to figure out blood was taken from me, and like they make fun of me respectively because I was a little bitch.
Your family's cool though, so
Right,
they make
yeah.
fun of you because they know it's funny.
and they know I can take it.
Yeah.
So I remember while getting blood taken, I was so close to passing out.
Hey, I'm the same way.
Yeah, and I remember they were like, "Hey, here's some chocolate milk. Here's some Jello to make you feel better." While all the facts, my sister is dying from cancer, and I just found out that my blood cannot save her, but my other sister could.
So I mean, it's a bittersweet thing because it's
no matter what, your sister's not gonna die.
You
supposedly,
want to be the one to save her
That would be
because of an
great.
ego thing.
Right. No, so this is the biggest diminish to my ego is I found out like, oh, in this circle.
You did not have an ego at 13.
Right, yeah. But at 14 I found out I don't matter. My oldest sister.
So you were at normal kid ego level and then immediately dropped down.
So let's say I'm 13. My middle sister is 15. My oldest sister is 17. My oldest sister is suffering from leukemia.
Yeah.
I found out that my 15-year-old sister has the blood that can save her. I'm a 13-year-old boy in middle school. I know my best bet is just to cause no problems.
Just be quiet.
And find your friends, just go along. So,
yeah.
And I remember, so the whole thing of me talking to a
therapist,
not therapist, but it was a school therapist,
psychiatrist, or a counselor.
Counselor was, I was annoyed that they kept bringing me up in a topic where I know I'm the smallest factor. So I fucked with them by joking about the fact that I'm suicidal, which is not a joke.
I know you kind of, yes.
Later on, I totally found out that suicidal thoughts are not a joke.
Dude, we could do a whole episode on it because
we both have so many friends who have,
and also
both of us.
I've had them as well.
Both of us have dived deep into suicidal thoughts.
I have very vivid thoughts of that.
But
not right now.
But pulling it back at the time, I was like, fuck you, this is what I'm thinking about, but I know it's bullshit. So me pushing on the bullshit is further bullshit that doesn't matter.
So I have a question,
yeah.
So you were seeing that counselor that you were fucking with.
They just kept telling me to meet with her.
They literally were pulling you out of the...
at a math class every time. It
was like a mandatory session that you didn't sign up for?
Yeah, just to see.
They literally were like, hey, can you come see me?
Yeah. No.
And you didn't even want to?
No, because it was random every time.
That's so weird. I never even knew it was allowed.
It was I mean
I kind of get it though because
they obviously want to check in on me.
I get it because you're going through a fucking that's dude, having an older sister that's in the school district going through cancer.
Yeah.
And the people that are in her age group are also probably getting talked to, and
because
the whole school district's talking about this,
Because what I remembered was it didn't matter what the fuck I felt. All that mattered was what my oldest sister felt, because that determined if she could be home that day. So I got so fucking...
What does that mean?
That if she had a good day, she could be at home and my parents would
watch over,
fix her ports and shit. But if she started feeling sick, she had to go to the hospital 2 hours away.
Oh, was it in Iowa City?
She was generally in Iowa City, and we were desperate.
I mean, that's a great hospital.
Yeah, no, and it saved her life, but we were desperate for the time she could be local. I remember...
Yeah, because that's 2 hours away. Like,
No,
that's
yeah,
a
because
big...
I remember her being home for like a day, and like we were desperately hoping that the sessions my parents gave her to save her life.
So they were
would
like
be
injecting
enough.
her with stuff?
Yeah.
Or trying to inject her with stuff?
Injecting her reports for
and she's
cancer,
just
yeah.
staying in that room?
And if she ever felt off, we were like, oh, fuck, gotta bring you back to Iowa City, in which case I couldn't see one of my parents for a day. And
well, because that's a 2-hour journey drive where you disappear.
Yeah,
know?
and I remember, like, I should have respected it at the time, but I was just annoyed.
Dude,
of
it's tough when you're in junior high. Yeah.
Well, like, I was annoyed at my local faculty giving a shit about me because I was aware I didn't mean anything.
And they're trying to bring attention. Well, it's because they're...
No, like, respect towards them for trying to bring attention to me.
And I
but
get
like,
it because you're going through a lot and they want to make sure you're doing okay.
But I was desperately trying to, like, stay mid-bar for my family so
Stay away from
nothing would reach them.
You're trying to stay quiet.
Yeah, I didn't want anything to reach my parents so they didn't have any distraction from my sister who was trying to stay alive. Which is another fact. I remember her going to the Ronald McDonald House and we like got to stay there for free.
I've experienced that.
But you know that
Ronald McDonald House is weird, dude.
But you know that means they're close to death.
Oh, is that what that means?
A lot of the times, yes. That means post-opt.
Because you get free lodge.
Free lodge, and like there's like some weird
dude,
VHS moving.
Yeah, Ronald McDonald though is a weird, like there's no TV.
Pre-opt for the parents, but like the kids are like
clean up after yourself.
The kids get this weird like disarray of like, oh, there's nothing for me to do here. What's wrong with my sibling?
I remember staying at Ronald McDonald House in Texas.
For your brother?
For my brother.
But like, was your brother ever, no offense, but like winning? Was he ever beating it? Because I know he suffered and died from leukemia, right?
It was a stage 4 brain cancer.
Fuck.
It was a brain tumor.
I didn't know that. Okay, because my sister suffered from leukemia, which can raise your bone matter and your lymph nodes. In which case, everyone currently recording is fine. We're aware of the circumstance, and my sister survived. But I've always been aware of our friendship that your brother didn't make it.
Yeah, no joke, dude. No, it's weird saying no joke before this, but like literally a couple days ago was the anniversary.
How many years?
I feel like shitty not knowing them.
It'd have to be close to like 6 years of a 4-year-old who died, right?
No, it's 11. We're in double digits.
He died 11 years ago?
Dude, he died when I was in junior high.
Fuck. I guess I can never...
He died when I was in junior high school.
So you can never picture them reaching the ages
he was
of what we are
4 years old.
When you were 11, right?
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Like, it's where what's shitty is I should know the year.
But, like, why... would you? No offense, but like, why would you keep track of that heartbreak?
I mean, it was definitely very heavy, like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4.
Right, but like,
and then
why
like
would
the
you
5-year anniversary, the
let
10-year,
yourself go?
The 10-year anniversary was a hard one because I think that was a couple years ago. I remember because Time Hop it reminds you when I used to do like very sappy, like I remember doing a post like I was on my deck.
Yeah,
when I lived in my townhome in Ankeny, doing a post and I because it affected me weird and I didn't know how to process it.
I mean, how old were you? 8?
He died when I was in junior high.
Okay, so like 12?
Yeah, 11,
13,
12. Yeah, but like
13 max.
But like you said earlier, like that's an age where you know kind of what's happening.
But you have to desperately focus on yourself.
But you don't know how to process it, but you're still developing. Like it's just such a weird thing. So like when you get older, like it hits you in weird waves.
Right. Because,
like, I still, in my wallet, I could pull it out right now for you. I still have 2 photos of him. I showed you it a couple years ago. Like,
which it was a photo I'd never seen.
I have a photo of what he looked like originally and then what he looked like post, like, steroid, surgery.
And too.
And it's like, you don't even recognize the difference. And what's crazy is dude, the weird thing that, I'll tell the story about what happened, but, like,
okay.
The weird thing is, like, you don't wrap your head around is, like, he didn't experience... he didn't experience any life.
A
He had
4-year-old is nothing.
He had no memory. I mean, yeah, that's shitty to say, but a 4-year-old is nothing because, like, when you're an adult, do you remember anything before you were 4 years old?
Okay, so like my niece right now is probably 2.5.
And like she's doing a lot of developmental things.
No, and it's so exciting
It's
when
so
she learns
cool.
anything.
But when she grows up, she won't remember any of those.
Right,
moments.
yeah. So the idea is to
You're
teach her about
You're
basics.
teaching her basic blocks, but she won't remember iconic things.
But it'll build upon-
Maybe she'll remember
When she's 4.
if there's photographs.
But like 4-year-old
I
is
have
about
I
the
have a photograph of my grandpa putting me on like a Tonka truck.
4 years old is the oldest I remember.
See, I don't
think.
remember the exact scenario.
I think I was 3 or 4 of my oldest memory.
But I remember there's a photo of me with my grandpa and I was in a Tonka truck and he was like holding the Tonka truck, like pushing me around in it.
Is that your oldest memory?
I kind of remember that moment, but is
It might be based
is it because
on the photo,
it's
yeah.
based on the photo?
So, do you think that's your oldest memory?
Possibly.
Do you have an older memory than that?
I don't think so because
'Cause
it's
I have-
photo memory.
Because I have 2.
We also gotta get back to the cancer talk.
I mean, this is despite the cancer talk. I know my 2 oldest memories. One of which is I was a baby crawling through.
You remember that?
I remember crawling through a room.
What an ego.
and
Just kidding.
and coming to a room that was full of balloons, and I climbed onto a countertop and ate a horrible cookie.
What?
And it was a gingerbread cookie, I later learned.
What?
And then the other oldest memory,
How do you remember?
it was like 2 or 3. So
What
the
the-
other memory I remember is leaving a church and sitting on a fountain and eating a Lunchable.
I do remember.
That's 4 years old.
I do
when I was
remember-
in Germany, sitting at a
you were in Germany.
That's my
crazy.
absolute earliest memories were in Germany, where I was born, but also where I reached like 3.5 or 4,
Yeah,
where
you're an
I
import, dude.
sat on a fountain and ate Lunchables.
Isn't it crazy that
Yeah.
you just remember specific moments?
Those are the only 2 memories.
Now that you brought those up, though,
My oldest memories.
I remember.
By
I
far.
remember these moments. I don't remember exactly what happened or what led up to them.
Yeah.
But I got stitches twice when I was younger,
Okay.
and I remember being in the hospital room for one of them, like right before I got the stitches, like sitting on the.
Do you remember what they were for?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know if I remember what they were for, or if someone told me what they were for.
That's always weird.
So,
yeah.
but I remember sitting for one of the memories on the hospital bed, and then I remember the scar because I think maybe you can kind of see it. I can't see it anymore.
All right, what scar is this?
There's a scar on my eyebrow. Maybe it's his eyebrow.
I've
maybe-
noticed your eyebrow scar.
Yeah, there's an eyebrow scar. So I got stitches twice when I was a young kid.
For what?
They were both marble related.
Okay.
So I don't know the order of appearance, the order of when it happened.
Okay.
But one of the times I was at the church growing up that I went to,
Yeah.
it was in Sioux City, Iowa,
Oh.
where I was born. It was this really cool old church. Like it's weird going back to that church because it's like it feels like I'll be familiar, but I don't remember
Right,
it.
yeah.
Because I was such a kid.
Yeah.
Like the fountains are
And
like
that's
the
how it
fountains are
was,
like
like,
2 feet tall.
The German churches, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was one moment where I was running through the hallway
Okay.
and I tripped and fell into the marble steps.
Cool.
And then I got stitches.
On your eyebrow.
I
yeah.
don't but here's the problem is I don't remember if that's the eyebrow scar or
Right.
if that's another stitches story where
Right.
I only remember I got stitches on my eyebrow. I got stitches twice. Where's the second one? I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Here's the other stitch
Oh,
story.
you remember the circumstance.
I remember the
Okay.
circumstances. This could be because of stories.
Right.
I guess the weird part is like your brain kind of fills in blanks
I
sometimes.
remember more from my stories than my actual circumstances.
That's why,
yeah.
like, I think that photo of me on the Tonka truck, like, I don't remember that, but maybe because of the photo, my brain is like, oh
Filling
yeah,
in the
we
gap,
filled in
yeah.
the gaps. Maybe it's like a dream. We can
Yeah.
remember what happened. But then the other one is it's another trip and fall into
Okay.
a marble coffee table, like
Okay.
like one of those really fancy heavy coffee tables,
Big-ass
and I
coffee table.
tripped and fell into it.
Yeah.
I must have been a clumsy kid.
Apparently.
One of those stories, I tripped and fell into a staircase or a coffee table. One of those stories gave me stitches on my eyebrow. The other one gave me stitches somewhere else. I like don't know where. I think it was on the face. But
So
like there's
define the
an
scars.
eyebrow scar. Like because
Yeah.
you've noticed it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's crazy because like that's so young when I did it. Like I tripped into something and then got stitches on my eyebrow. Like that's so crazy. But I want to go back to like the. This is gonna sound weird, but I want to go back to the cancer talk.
Okay.
Because I want to finish. If we're gonna talk about it,
What is the finish of this?
If we're gonna talk about it, I want to talk about it.
Okay. No, for sure.
So,
Do you have any more questions for me on the factor?
I guarantee I'll have more questions once I listen to this episode.
Well, because
But
like
as of right now, I don't.
my understanding of when my sister had cancer is they researched me and my other sister of possible matches, and I didn't match, and my other sister did. So they took an initial blood test of me, which would have been like my standard junior high self. And then they tested my other self, which would have been later high school. And it was still my sister was the match. So for 3 years, probably like 14 to 17, I knew, like, not to feel bad about myself, but I knew from 14 on, I did not matter. I didn't have to be what my parents focused on. I could luckily be this minor inconvenience in a way.
Well,
not to like, not to draw pity on anything.
No, we're not drawing pity, but like that when you're in that scenario,
I could
you
shrink
laid
as
low.
small
You
as
laid
positive.
you laid low because you had to.
And I truly
It's
believe
a lot to go through.
No, and I truly believe this is partially why later on I became a freak show performer.
This is gonna be a very. I mean, I do want to later.
I think this is why I begged later on
this
for
is-
people to
I-
pay attention.
I have
to
a
me.
question for you, but like later on, I do want to finish my cancer story.
Okay, yes.
But I do
The
have.
fact that we have our own cancer stories is
I mean, I think that's kind of why we connect and are so close. Though.
it's close to why we're best friends.
and it's so
for
crazy. We
fucking sure.
lived so close to each other when we both went through.
No, at the exact same
time, kind of.
No, you were probably 2 years ahead of me.
It was a year. Yeah,
when did
'cause-
your brother have cancer?
So my brother,
How younger-
My brother died when I was in junior high.
So my sister had cancer when I was in junior high. So a year apart.
So I remember.
Your
that's
brother
probably-
died, my
that's-
sister lived.
So that's probably why I latched on because I knew the shirts. We'll bleep that.
Well, because
What was the shirt? There was
Say-
yes.
well, no, because part of it was
I remember those shirts and I was like, I
You-
can relate to that so hard.
Well, because part of it is you bullied me first.
Yeah.
So I bet the initial attachment was probably close to that.
No, but I bullied you in elementary school.
So when you were in like 6th grade, I was in 5th grade. Oh, so yeah, it
Whoa.
would have been like 2 years before. I think it was just happenstance that
Yeah, it might have been happenstance.
both of our siblings
but like,
got cancer within a year of each other.
But like, I don't know how long.
I don't know
I
either.
yeah, I don't
the
know
numbers.
because I was so young. Like I can't process this. But I do have a serious question to ask you, and I
Yeah.
I want to tell my journey on this
Sure,
on this
yeah.
cancer thing because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that I'm
No, these are in a way
it's a
the
very
most,
heavy thing, but
they are definitely
most
defining factors.
most impactful thing. But
Yes.
this is the most heavy question I've ever asked.
For me, yes.
Yeah. So obviously your sister survived, which is amazing.
Yes.
And you were trying once that ended is probably when you wanted to get
Attention,
the
yes.
attention because you didn't get it for the years that happened.
I'm assuming that's kind of the backlash.
Now here's the heavy question.
Yes.
Is you went into Freak Show
Yes.
because you wanted attention.
Perhaps, yes.
I know your sister lived.
Yes.
I'm just saying that right now. Your sister lived. This is hypothetical. If your sister died,
Okay.
do you think you would have gone into Freak Show?
Oh, that's
Heavy.
besides the fact of attention, I want to say yes.
It's a tough question because
Well, because
this is
also-
all hypothetical. Like you don't know how you would react.
Well, no, because part of the question is how much more influx of attention would I've gotten if she died versus lived? I would have gotten more attention.
Oh, you would have got swallowed. You would have got swallowed up with the attention of people you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
like,
the whole school system that we were in would have swallowed you and your sisters up.
which is so insane because that happened to you.
It's so shitty, but that's what happens. So that's why I'm curious. Like, I mean, obviously, this is
That's
like
insane,
You don't know
yeah.
what you would do, but do you think your projection and like because you're known as Jacob the Freak. You are a freak
Nowadays,
show
yeah.
performer. Do you think your persona and everything about you would be different if your sister didn't make it?
Fuck.
It's a deep, hard ass
No,
question, and I hate asking it because I love. It's awesome that your sister survived,
But
Like,
you're
that's-
also
that's
aware of the idea of if she didn't because you lived that.
because I'm on the other end of that.
Because-
like how different would our lives be if your sister died and my brother lived? How different would we be? Would I be a freak show
That's-
performer and you would be a carpenter? Is that like I don't know.
That
Like,
specific, no.
No, but like just like think about like how because we obviously reacted to shit.
No.
differently.
So I'm
This
pure.
is very curious.
No, so I'm purely basing this off the idea of if your brother lived and my sister died.
No, don't base it on me at all. Base it on you just in general.
But that is the preamble. Because
It is.
as far as my sister being sick and me getting in a band, which is post-op intentionally,
Oh, you joined a band for attention.
not because of what happened, but I was aware of like I got zero attention. And she was fine at this point. And then I joined a band where I was front and center.
You were striving for attention.
Oh, for sure. No.
And it wasn't because you weren't doing it because my sister had cancer. I'm going to join
It
a
was
band.
partially that I got no
But
attention.
it was a deep down. It was a deep down soul or wherever
No.
shit. It's a deep down thing where it's like, I need this attention.
No, so like partially it was that. I would say my band was more so for attention than me being a freak show artist now. Because the band was directly after, I would say. I think.
That's where you put your energy into. That's the tough part. Is we
so.
We were young when it happened, so it's hard to remember.
Yeah,
exactly.
we were young and dumb without direction, so I assume I chose my direction to be the band I was in. And like the idea of me saying I played 2 shitty shows, I earned that on my own, not including the idea that my sister was sick. The idea that my sister was sick interpreted me in different directions later in life, but I don't think it was specifically there.
Yeah, it definitely hits you when something like that happens when you're younger. It hits you. It doesn't hit you in the moment. It hits you later.
No, because I know the moment it hit me, and that was that
Oh, really?
Someone when I graduated high school, someone else had gotten diagnosed with brain cancer.
Someone in your grade.
Yes. And it turned out
shit.
he had died.
Oh shit.
So I know that after I got my first career job, so this would have been 2016 as a welder,
Yeah.
I gave the widow of this topic $4,000 to give him a tombstone.
Holy shit.
So I know that it was my direct reaction. That
That's fucking.
my
Dude, that's. I did not know you.
I'm
did
not
that.
asking for like
No, but I'm
good cause.
I'm
I
not
just
saying like,
Yeah.
well, good for you, but I didn't know you did that.
yeah.
And, like,
So my first paycheck of a real job that I felt after I graduated college, I gave to someone who was suffering from something similar to what my family was
I
suffering.
think I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
Did he have an older brother?
I think one. Yeah.
What's his name? We'll believe it. We'll cut all of that because
That-
there's a lot of names.
Yeah. No, that was my.
We just said a bunch of names of people that went through traumatic shit. And
Right,
we cut
yeah.
it all.
No. So me now bragging about it. That was.
You're not bragging.
No, but I'm aware of the factor. That was my first instance of I had money and I could give it to somebody else. It was right after I graduated
So that's
welding.
definitely that was
I gave
definitely did it. You
$400 for that factor
okay.
of
Earlier,
cancer.
you just said 400. Earlier, you said 4,000.
No,
What was it?
Oh shit! No, it was not 4,000.
Okay, oh my. That's why I was like, what the fuck?
No, it was 400.
Okay, it's
Fuck,
400.
sorry if
You
I
said-
ever said
No, he
4,000.
said his
No.
initial number was 4,000.
No, go fuck yourself. I will never give 4,000 for something. No, sorry.
That's
If
his
I-
ego.
No, sorry if I said 4,000. No, 400 is what I gave to what she presented as his tombstone. I gave 400 towards.
Damn, that's still a decent amount of money.
No.
Especially when you die in high school, man.
Well, also
And they were in a very serious relationship.
also not I mean, somewhat bragging. She was the first girl to grind on me at a
Look at him.
homecoming.
He's trying to one up
Yeah.
on the
No, freshman
boy-
school, she grinded on me.
Jesus Christ.
And then I gave you money for your tombstone. Jesus Christ.
Look at this episode started with Jacob's ego. And
No, I
now
want to
it's
be a
shining-
villain. I want to be a villain.
No, he's definitely a villain because her serious boyfriend
her husband
died.
Her husband.
Oh, they were married.
They were married.
Her serious husband
Husband died of brain cancer.
and
I-
you're bragging that she grinded on you at one. That's
in
all.
freshman year of
That's
high
all you
school.
got was grindage.
and then
And
also,
you gave her $400 for his tombstone, which is what it cost to make a tombstone. So who's the bad guy now?
No, I'm saying I'm the bad guy.
Cancer.
And I want
Oh.
to.
Cancer's
No, because the idea of that a teacher talked to me while my sister had cancer, while your brother was dying of cancer. The entire time was go fuck me. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Cancer always happens. Do not pay attention to me.
Yeah,
while
so you were
your
in-
fucking
you were in a-
brother died.
You were in a don't care situation.
No, I was in that. It was a joke that somebody cared about me.
I mean, that's how I felt my entire life.
Well, because nobody cared about you, which is disgusting. That you didn't even get the attention that I got.
And I was the oldest child.
and my sibling had cancer, and I was the last child, and somebody cared about
Well,
me.
usually
but
the
nobody
youngest-
ever cared about you, right?
No, I mean
No.
they did. They did until other siblings were born.
No, I'm saying
so let
that
me-
while your sibling had cancer, others were asking me about how my sibling's cancer affected me, and I made a fucking joke about it because I was stopped caring about me because the siblings of cancer does not fucking matter while a child is dying. Not saying what I did was right. I'm saying what the
Yeah, this is
school did was
circumstantial, yeah,
wrong.
circumstantial.
No matter what, as in only give attention to the object of cancer,
but here's-
no matter the age.
But here is what's different about our circumstance.
Yes.
is
no one gave
my-
a shit about you before.
Well, well,
That's part of
well,
it.
that's part of it. But also part of it is the brother that had cancer was on my dad's side,
Yes.
which means all of my siblings on my dad's
A different
side
bloodline.
different bloodline, but they also went to a different school district 2 hours away.
Yes.
So my brother got cancer. No one in the school district knew.
At the start?
They didn't go in the. They didn't. None of us. I was the only Zortman in the school district.
Okay, so that-
the entire school district didn't know what happened.
So that's completely different than
they
mine.
didn't. They,
yeah.
they didn't know he had cancer. They didn't know he died of cancer.
No,
Only
because-
certain teachers knew because I told them.
So my topic was, a kid with the last name of White had cancer.
Yeah. So everyone with the white.
Document it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was 2 hours away in a school district. So my siblings got the attention and got what you got.
Because you
But-
had two siblings?
Yeah, I have 3 that are above my brother that passed away.
3. Wow.
Yeah, I have 3.
Above.
Well, like older.
3. Yeah, when
Yeah.
him, 3 others.
Yeah, he was the last born.
Last born. So when 3 others and him.
Yeah,
and
he was the youngest.
Fuck. And he
Yeah.
had cancer when he was like 8?
4.
Fuck.
I was in junior high, dude. He was
That is-
he was the youngest. He
'Cause
was
there's-
such a cute kid.
Because there's. No, I've seen him. Also, Armstrong Zortman. God rest in peace. No matter what we
Yeah,
say
yeah,
about religion,
what's
he
crazy-
is the base.
What's crazy is like that's so young to like pass away. Like you don't even experience life.
You don't know life. You can't comprehend
so
life.
like you obviously have to be
You know your favorites and your not even
he
least
loved-
favorites,
he
just
loved
everything else.
Diego from Dora the Explorer.
And that's it.
Like,
Because like
that's
every
what people put at his grave and then flowers. Like that's like
Fuck.
you know what I mean? Like can you imagine if that's what people put at your grave?
You right, not even
A show that you loved when you were 4?
not even smart enough to make your own dissect. Well, because me today, if I died, they will dissect it into certain algorithms. But he was the 4-year-old algorithm, which means even beyond that, my sister had cancer when she was 16.
Yeah,
so we
almost a
got
senior in high school.
We got her middle school algorithm
She got her
of
weird-
respect this.
Yeah,
He literally only got Diego
yeah. That's it.
of the at most Dora.
Well, and also Diego, and then he loved French fries. Like we're latching onto these things that he
so base.
so basic.
I mean, let alone Diego.
We have really cool videos of him loving French fries when he was going through cancer
Or
treatment.
Diego, the explorer.
That's like it.
Of him hugging on to the concept of
And
a
that's
theorem.
that's literally all he knew.
A theorem.
And that's all he will ever know. He never lost his virginity.
All right.
He never had a first kiss. He never he never experienced all. Dude, we have a fucking podcast that he's never listened to a podcast. He's never experienced 99% of the shit we've talked about in this podcast.
So, do you personally believe in life after that?
I mean,
Do you think he's locked on to other things?
there was part of me hoping, like, there's part of me
Or
that's
do you
hopeful.
hope that he's like lived past that? Like the idea,
he kept growing.
or
it'd be
not
so
not
cool.
even kept growing, like started anew. What's the word?
Rebirth?
Yeah. Like, do you
I don't believe in rebirth, but
like where you
reincarnation.
Yeah, you don't believe in reincarnation at all?
Nah.
I hope that any child that has died in the fourth generation that you and I have experienced of what they explain cancer, I hope that they have lived that and said, fuck it, started new, and been like, I will be my
okay,
own new adult.
So now that
So reincarnation is the idea that
we're-
someone has lived and died, and we have been exposed to the death.
I want to dive deep into my story because
Yeah,
we haven't done it
absolutely.
yet, and then we can dive deep into that. I mean, this episode might go a little long, but
Because I have no more to my story.
lately they've been going longer, and guess what? Who cares?
Go fuck
It's
yourself.
a fucking podcast, so no one
Listen up.
gives a fuck. So I remember the moment my brother got diagnosed with cancer.
How old were you, do you think?
He died when I was in junior high.
So you were 8, maybe.
So
when
I
he
was
diagnosed?
I was in elementary school.
8 or 9. I bet.
So
yeah.
sixth grade, fifth grade.
Bullshit time.
I don't remember, but I do
Well,
remember.
you're focused on yourself at that time because you're becoming an adolescent.
What's crazy is you don't remember exactly the what's happening around it. You just remember the moment.
Right.
So
So,
this-
if I looked up at things that happened when you were 9 or 10, you would remember those, but
I
not
don't
how you
rem-
reacted.
But I don't
to
remember
'em.
the age.
How you reacted.
I just
to 'em,
remember.
yeah.
I just remember this exact moment
Yes.
because when I was at that age, I used to visit my dad monthly.
Yes.
That was like the thing because I would stay with my mom most of the time, and that's the school district I went to.
Well, because the
So-
fucked up
so-
thing
so
when
I'm
your
the-
sibling had cancer is you're like, oh, I don't matter.
Well, and also we'll get to all this,
Right, yeah.
dude. So
Okay.
so I'm the oldest child. Let me explain that. I'm the oldest child of siblings that are all half.
So you're like 7.
Siblings that are all half. So I live with my mom, so I'm closer with my mom's side siblings. My brother
Yeah.
that had cancer is on my dad's side.
Yes.
So I'm only going to my dad's once a month. So I don't really know my brother.
Yes. Who has cancer?
And he died at 4. So I saw him maybe this might be a stretch. I saw him maybe a full year of his 4 years. Fuck. Isn't that crazy to think about?
And no, it had to be his worst moment. It had to have been
That was
when you were
that was when I saw him the most because I knew
when you were like 6.
in the hospital.
They brought you there
Going
to
to the
be like-
I went to Texas with him. Like it was like
And under the
because I lived with my mom. Like
under
I
the
wasn't
pretense
there.
of like this is his worst moment. He needs you. Here you are.
Well, and
being
it's and also
literal
it was
fucking child.
it was stage 4 cancer, so it was like I have to.
No, but I'm saying that
everyone's like you have to go to these things.
no. So I'm saying the pre-ops is you are 5 maybe, and they're like, hey, you have to be there. He has it worse. Pay attention. Like not to like defer like what's happening, but like it's true that you were unaware of what was going on, and you were just thrown into this important algorithm
Oh, dude,
of a being who didn't know he was being born, let alone aged in a cancerous environment.
So this is the first story I want to start of is when I got the call that he had cancer.
How old do you think you were?
I remember this is elementary school for
Because
sure.
I remember when I found out my sister had cancer.
because I was living with my mom. This is on my dad's side. So I got a phone call from my dad.
Fuck.
So I was at a family dinner. Because we used to have family dinners, which was a thing back in the day, which we don't have really anymore except at holidays.
What did you say was a family dinner, though?
It's when we sat down and had dinner together. And
How
obviously-
many together, though? Because you lived with 4 siblings.
I mean, at this point, I was younger, so maybe there was 1, maybe 2 other siblings.
Okay.
But I guarantee I can picture where we were. We were in our old house. We were in the dining room. I guarantee the news was on. The news was always on when we had dinner, and that's usually what was the discussion of
Sure.
dinner. And so that's why everyone
And you
hated
didn't get it.
And that's why everyone hated dinner. Because we were just quiet and people were getting upset about the news. I won't say who it is. But I remember I had a cell phone at the time. I'm pretty sure it was that green cell phone with the 4 buttons that I mentioned in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was maybe at this point maybe I had an upgraded phone. I don't know. But I had a cell phone that my dad could contact me.
Okay.
So maybe it was that because I was young. Maybe it was that green phone. I get a phone call from my dad while I'm at dinner.
Family dinner, yeah.
This might not be what we were eating at the dinner, but we used to eat a bunch of those chicken shake and bakes.
Okay.
Where
yeah.
you would shake the chicken in like the breadcrumbs and
For
then cook
great
it.
family dinner, yeah.
We used to eat that a lot. Like we would eat that weekly. So we might have been eating that.
Sounds like a hamburger helper type meal.
So my dad calls me mid dinner, and I go, hey, my dad's calling me, and so I leave the dinner table to answer the phone, obviously, because I don't want to answer the phone and talk to him at the
Be rude, yeah.
Yeah, so I leave it and I walk towards the kitchen. So I remember sitting on the opposite of the dining room table, walking around the end, and then cutting up into the kitchen. I'm answering the phone as I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I remember turning and being, hey, what's up? And I remember getting past the fridge, which if you remember, the fridge was at the edge of the kitchen. Once I passed the fridge is where I pause and stop. Because I remember one of the first, like I said, hey, because it's random and he's calling me.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad, what's up? And he goes, hey, Armstrong has cancer. And I instantly, like, right in between.
And you know 5 people at this point, and one of them now has cancer.
Yeah. So I remember instantly right in between the fridge and the cupboard, right where the microwave is. You know the old kitchen. It was right there. I paused right in front of the microwave and then it just dropped. As I'm on the phone with him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
Half of your world.
I didn't. Well, and also I don't know what that means. I don't know. It just stunned me. And
Cancer hit both of us too young to comprehend.
You can't comprehend that. So I just dropped, and then I remember my mom getting up, like, what the fuck is happening? But then I continued to talk to my dad, and then I just remember sitting on the stairs and crying.
Right.
And then my mom is like I'm on the phone, like crying, and then I hang up the phone, and my mom's like, what is happening? And I just go, my brother has cancer. And then my mom, like that's the only.
She can't comprehend that
I don't
either.
because it's like not her son, but it's my brother. Like,
yeah.
That's all I remember from that moment. Obviously, there was a lot more that happened that night. But then, fast forward, this is the next part I remember. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of stuff that I remember. I went to Texas. So I do want to talk about this real quick. So around this time, the iPod Touch was out.
Yeah.
And this is how young and stupid and selfish I was.
Which you cannot comprehend in this circumstance.
You can't comprehend because my biggest wish and want in life was the iPod Touch.
Which is such a logistic.
Because I had a regular iPod Nano, and then I had a cell phone. And then I just wanted an iPod Touch so bad, but I still had a cell phone, and I still had I wanted an iPod Touch because it was cool.
Yeah.
And I kept begging for it. And I remember going to Texas.
Ugh.
Where my brother was being sent to all these different hospitals, which is not a good sign when you're getting sent to different hospitals.
Something you can literally not comprehend.
I didn't
Where he was,
and this is also
where you were,
and this is also my dad's side where I only know what's happening when I'm there. There's so many other things that happened that I missed. I missed so many. What's crazy is I have a tattoo of my brother that I barely knew. Granted, he was only 4, but I didn't even know him for 4 years because I wasn't there, and that's the shitty part.
And no shame on you.
It's not my fault, but it still sucks.
It's circumstantial,
it still sucks,
it's a horrible,
and that's super
circumstantial,
impactful. But it's I wish I had more because I don't know him.
Right. But there's only so much to know.
But I remember going on that Texas trip, and that's when we went to the Ronald McDonald House and we stayed there. I remember celebrating New Year's
Oh.
in the hospital room in Texas. Like the ball dropped, and I was in the hospital room.
Yeah.
My fucking brother's in the hospital chair. People are around him, and I'm like one of the kids that's just there,
Yeah.
getting no attention, just wishing I had an iPod Touch.
Yeah.
That's my thought at the moment. I see the ball drop at New Year's. All I wanted was an iPod Touch. I didn't fucking care about what was happening.
You couldn't
like that's
comprehend
so shitty.
You couldn't comprehend it though.
That's so shitty. And then fast forward, I'm in junior high. This is like the weird, like I knew my brother was getting sick. I knew he was getting bad, and like
Yeah.
I wasn't there for a lot of it. So I was just getting text updates from my dad because I had a phone at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a phone earlier, but I think I had an upgraded phone at this point. I remember being in first period. It was with Mrs. Woods, who
Yeah.
was my freaking neighbor. The
you're right.
the English teacher. She would
Yeah.
give me rides to school someday.
Yeah.
I really liked her, but I remember we were in the computer lab, and we weren't supposed to have our phones. And my dad texted me and said, "Hey, Armstrong passed away." And I was at like this weird age where like I got this text where I wasn't supposed to get this text, so I put my phone back away.
Yeah.
And I didn't know quite how to process it, but I knew like the phone call was gonna come in
Yeah.
from the school,
From the family.
from
yeah.
the school. So like I knew it was coming.
And it was gonna hit all of you.
So then all of a sudden the phone rings. Mrs. Woods picks it up. She goes, "Hey, Robert, you got to go to the office." So I already know what's happening
Yeah.
because at this point, like, but like literally from my dad texting me to like the phone call, 10 minutes.
And you're just
I knew it was coming.
ignoring any factor.
I knew it
of
was coming.
Yeah.
So then I get down to the office. My mom's on the phone, and they, "Hey, your brother passed away," and I go, "I already know." Like I don't know. Like I'm literally like not. I have no emotion.
You're not aware of the circumstance of what that means.
I have no emotion, and like my mom's super upset because obviously that's something super upset. A kid just died of
That's
cancer.
horrible.
It's not even her kid.
It's the idea of a kid.
But I'm in junior high and I have no emotion.
Yeah.
So then I wait in the office. I'm just sitting there. My mom comes and picks me up to like bring me home because
Right.
like what do you do in that situation? Which sucks because like I go home and do nothing.
Yeah.
I can't even be around the like my bro. It was
Mm-hmm.
2 hours away. What do I do on the way home? I say, "Hey, can you stop at Home Depot?" This is what I did.
Yeah.
No joke. I don't remember what we did, but my brain is so. And this might have inspired like how like I fill my voids with doing creative shit.
For sure. Yeah.
This might have been the turning point for that.
Because I know mine is that factor.
Is on the drive home from getting taken out of school from learning that my brother passed away is I wanted to go to Home Depot to buy materials to build something. And then once I don't even remember what I built or
Yeah,
what I did, but I went to Home Depot. I grabbed supplies. I think my mom bought the supplies because she was like, "What the fuck
Right. Yeah.
is
what are you
happening?"
supposed
And
to
then
do?
and then once we got home, I worked in the driveway and I built something.
God, I'm
I
so
don't-
curious what it was.
I don't even remember what it was, but that was how I dealt with his death.
Because that was before we were friends.
And I remember building, like, it took me all day to build something that Mrs. Woods, the English teacher, came home and pulled in the driveway and then walked over to me.
Fuck.
While I built something for that long.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I think I just said,
Look at this.
I think I just said, "Oh, I'm fine," and I kept working on it.
Yeah. No,
I did not process it, which means that it hit me later in life because I don't think I knew how to process it.
So I
It's a
truly
weird fucking
believe
thing, dude.
you and I handled it a very
But I think that-
continuous way.
But I think that's
But
I think
I
that's
never
why
had
I
a-
put all my work in. I think it's why I put all my stuff into work now.
Which is why I think I did the same, but I never had to face the hard, separate part.
the
of it.
reality of death.
Yeah, because luckily my
That's why I brought
made it.
that's why I brought up the question. Like, do you think you would do a freak show? Because obviously,
think so, yeah.
obviously most of the freak show was for attention. I feel like.
And I think continuous of the same way that I wanted attention back then is how I seek attention now.
But if your sister died, would you want that same attention?
Maybe a circumstance earlier in a different format, yeah. Maybe I would ask them to pay attention a little bit more to the band I was in back in the day.
The other 2 shows you played.
Yeah, no, the shitty shows I played that they were both at and still
Were they
sold out.
there?
Yeah, they were at that one.
They were probably upstairs.
Yeah, they were.
They were
No, so maybe I would have focused a little bit more on the if so factor of the idea of a show post versus pre, where you and I suffer from that different factor, is that your brother died during and my sister survived after the fact.
Yeah.
Of I could focus on the these 2 sisters aren't as important. Maybe this is where I get a little attention versus
this
you.
This is where I'm allowed to have attention, and I think I'm in the opposite boat where I feel undeserved.
You could crave while
I could
understanding the
I could crave it.
negative.
I could crave attention, but then also at the same time feel undeserved as attention.
Yeah.
Because there's a kid that's no longer here.
It's an empty space that you circumference.
So obviously I don't deserve the attention
You-
because
But the idea of undeserved attention is that was still there to be held. Shitty as it is, there is no
bringing him back.
right. Yeah. So anything post him meant as much as any energy deserves.
Yeah.
But the idea of force given to the factor of undeserved attention being deserved wasn't there. Like the idea of I can't think of the word, but like unremarkable attention given to anyone.
Well, obviously when something dramatic like that happens,
There's attention given.
100% attention is given to that because it's so serious and so important.
And so sad.
And it's not anyone's fault. It's not anyone's.
No.
It's like if you're the other child or the other sibling or the other anything,
Whatever,
or
yeah.
the other anything. It's not because people don't care about you. It's because that is so important right now.
Yeah.
It's the hot topic.
So you and I versus the idea of energy given were as fucked up as it is, but a child dying resolves energy given. Where me energy given was like, oh, that's somebody else instead of somebody lackluster.
I know
in
we're
a
kind
way.
of going long in this episode,
Right.
But I do have another kind of serious question to ask you.
Okay.
Since I feel like this is a good question for both of us,
Right.
And I've never thought. I just literally thought of this right now,
Yes.
and it like kind of tears me up thinking about it. But I am very curious to. We're on the topic, so now's
Yeah.
the time to ask it.
Okay.
Both of our siblings had cancer.
Yes.
Yours survived, mine didn't. So it obviously is in the bloodline.
Yes.
We don't have kids, but when we get to the point of having kids, does that give you a fear?
Yeah.
Does
absolutely.
does that give you a fear of having kids?
Absolutely.
That one of them might get cancer,
Yeah, for sure.
and that's terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause-
I want kids eventually.
For
And like I
sure,
have
yeah.
names planned out,
Me
and like
too.
and I want that, but like part of me is like, do I want to risk going through one of the best life changing experiences
versus
to
the
having one of the worst life change,
circumstantial-
like
yeah.
because it runs in my blood.
Yeah. No, it's a weird fucking circumstance.
Like I want to have a kid and name like I want to have a kid named Kurt Armstrong Zordman.
Yeah.
Like I want to name him Kurt, but his middle name is Armstrong in honor of my
After-
brother.
No, because I fully planned, as did my sister who didn't have cancer, named a middle name after my oldest sister who did suffer. So
Yeah.
like I know like I want 2 kids, Ophelia and Augustus.
Augustus. Nice.
So Ophi and Augie.
yeah, I like that.
And I fully plan on having Lynn as a middle name after my sister
Just
who
an
did
honor-
suffer from
honor-
cancer. Yeah.
It's just an honor, but then it's like,
It's a factor in our family.
And this-
it's in
and-
our blood.
and this is what sucks is like you name because you're not gonna get both from the same middle name,
Right, yeah.
But what if you give the one that has that middle name and then they end up getting cancer? Like that's I'm saying so much fucked up shit, but like
Yeah.
that's shit you got to think about because it's runs in
we've,
your bloodline.
we've had it in our family, yeah. I mean,
And that's the fear. That's the fear I'm gonna have if I ever get to the point where I'm planning to have kids. Like I'm
And-
gonna have that fear, and like the partner that I'm with
we'll have to deal with
will
it,
have to
yeah.
deal with it, and maybe for the most part, probably won't have this backstory like
But
we have.
we're aware of it because I'd imagine your bloodline is just likely as my bloodline to have cancer in it.
Yeah, so it's not super rare. I mean, I have 8 siblings, and I guess only one of them had it.
And I have
that was
three siblings and one had
they're
it.
all half siblings, so like
Right, yeah.
maybe it's just half, and then
But like as far as the idea of having two kids, the idea of one having cancer is a factor that I've also considered. Yeah.
I just can't.
You just have
I
to
just
hope.
can't. I don't know how I would react.
I'd imagine the same that your parents reacted.
No, but I
in
can't imagine
They
having.
couldn't understand the idea of having a child with cancer,
but
nor could
but
you.
I don't think my parents had a sibling that had it and then grew up and had a kid that had it. That's what I'm
True.
thinking. Like if I get to the point where growing up,
But
I
I
have
bet
kids.
comprehension is just as far out of the reach of understanding that
I just
either of us could reach.
if I ever, I'm an adult when I say this, but if I ever grow up and have kids,
If
and
one
if one of them happens to have cancer, and then I lost my brother, I will fucking spiral, dude.
But I'm saying you can't reach it as much as you can reach what your brother went through. As fucked up as it is, you can't understand it unless you are in it, and like we'll never be in it.
Yeah, because I was too young.
Yeah, no, our comprehension is so limited to the
But it's still,
understanding
but
of
we were so
bringing
young.
a new
that's
person
that's
in.
why it still affects me so much
Yeah.
because I couldn't.
You have no
comprehend.
comprehension
Because I have no
either
comprehension,
wise.
but I know that it happened, and I'm just like, my brain is just in scramble mode. Like I can't get it.
It's a thing you can't worry about. If it happens, you have to try to fight it, and if not, fuck, you
Yeah,
get
that's the scary part.
you lose a child.
So if
which
you're
is
listening to
insane.
this and you ever want to be a future partner,
Jesus Christ,
no, I'm just kidding.
no, that's a.
I mean, it's a
fucking-
realistic thing. Like when I get to a future partner, I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have to
No,
have this conversation,
It'll have to be a limit you reach.
or I'll just send them this link. So if you're listening to this and I send this to you, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, hope you enjoyed our Moist Monday podcast.
Welcome to Moist Monday. This episode got super serious. We talked about ego, and then we talked about
our family member
cancer.
death. Yeah, something we've
Super-
both been through.
super serious. But cancer is a very
It's something
relate-
that has purely affected both of our lives.
But also, I feel like everyone knows someone that has cancer.
Right, yeah.
So I feel like this was definitely raw and emotional for us.
And we
but
hope it's for you too.
But I feel like it's very relatable for other people.
I hope so. Yeah, anyone who has had a similar interaction with us, I hope you can connect with it and
Yeah, and
see our point of view and
like,
connect with it.
dude,
because both of
it
us
sucks.
truly went through it.
Yeah,
and
100%.
suffered our different aspects.
And maybe-
where Robert suffered way more than I did. But that is a familiar attribute, like where I know my family got lucky and yours fucking didn't.
That's the shitty part about cancer.
That's so shitty. Yeah,
but
it's luck or it's blood or whatever.
But
I
hopefully
hope you
that
connect
hopefully
to
that
us.
kind of fills in the dots because sometimes we make a lot of jokes about cancer.
Which I hope you also, if you suffered through this, you
But that's
stand
but
the idea of making
literally
fun
Jacob
of it.
and I have been making fun of cancer and jokes of cancer since these events that have happened.
Truly to
like
get
one of
past-
the first.
Not even get past it,
no,
but
not
just
even-
understand
because,
it.
And I remember one of the first times we ever joked about cancer
Yeah.
together. We went, "Oh, we're allowed to." We went through it.
And I purely understood that I was lucky enough to say that my family got past it and understand that yours didn't.
But we both agreed like it's
this is something
we can
we've
make a-
equally attributed
yeah,
to.
and we can make a joke about it, and we're on the same page. Like it doesn't matter that
No, the
like,
luck
I mean,
of
it
one
does-
sibling dying and one doesn't equal the playing grounds that fucking much.
because we like jokes too much.
Yeah.
humor and
he
comedy
understood.
and jokes.
He understood enough where I'm coming from that the jokes
Yeah.
that passed the middle ground were understandable.
So hopefully,
you can meet us there.
earlier episodes and past episodes from this,
You're better than
you
us.
will understand the cancer jokes that we make because it's a default joke that we make because of the pain that we went through.
and where we've been and where we understand that we have to move to now. Whether you're moving past it or moving with it, we understand that we have to move on.
And if you are like we're getting super serious, but if you are going through anything related to this,
No,
reach out to us. Send us an email
because we mean nothing but respect and understanding.
DM us on Instagram, and we're someone to talk to because we can relate to you
We've
guys.
both been to different aspects of the
Yeah, so
situation.
like obviously we were younger when it happens, but I've been dealing with my brother's death for freaking double-digit years. Like,
which is insane.
it's insane, but like we can still relate and we can still talk to you
So
about it.
please
and, like,
connect to us if you feel.
if you need someone to talk to,
Yeah.
we're here. And if you need someone to joke to,
About
we're
anything.
here.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you up, we here.
At moistmondaypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, send us an email.
Moist
follow-
Monday at TikTok, at Instagram, the
follow us
Moist
on
Monday
social-
Podcast.
Just follow us on social media. Make sure you give us 5 stars or rate us on all the other podcast
Or
apps.
rate us honestly. At this point, we're open to any ratings. We'll take them as we get them and hope we understand what you're coming from.
Yeah, I want someone to leave us a review.
Any review.
Because
Just to better
if
understand.
you leave us, okay, we're such a small podcast. If you leave us any review, even if it's 1 star,
We will comment.
read it on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't want to pressure people into 5 stars.
No.
Because we're so small.
'Cause maybe we're
once
not
we get to a certain size, maybe we'll get bigger.
Maybe we're not a 5-star podcast. And I respect that.
We just did a whole episode about cancer. You cannot give us 1 star. You
true.
cannot give us guilt. This guilt. You have to give us at least 4. You have to.
Unless you
I'm looking
donate.
at you. You see your fingers on the star. Your fingers on the star. You have to give us at least 4.
Or
We're talking about
donate at least enough to the Ronald McDonald
yeah,
Foundation.
Yeah, at least donate money and
Be
and
better than
tell
us.
Yeah.
And then contact us about your 1-star
Staying at
review.
the dude, I stayed at the. Let me before
I
we
stayed
close.
at 2 months and it was fucking depressing.
I stayed there one night and it was weird because that was the final night we were there.
Because
And
I was
there
waiting
the-
for my sister to
There
die.
was their communal kitchen.
Yes.
And then the
the
room,
VCRs they give you.
No, the room that we stayed in had no TV.
Oh, shit.
When we cleaned up, we had to literally vacuum and fold and
Oh, my
and
God.
we had to vacuum and fold and we literally had to maid the whole room, which I get. We're staying at free. Which I
Sure,
get.
yeah.
But because my family had been there prior, but that was my only night there.
Fuck.
And I remember doing all this cleanup shit, and there was all these families in the communal area.
Yeah.
And there was all these events, and it was just a weird experience.
Okay,
it was
so-
it was like a weird mansion.
At least my experience there was my sister lived through the night and we got to watch a separate Disney movie and like clean up after ourselves. That was
in my memory, we did not have a TV.
no, because that was close to the time that my sister almost died. Because that was like when we didn't know if her body would like take or reject the bone marrow transplant. So her
Yikes, yeah, that's
her
scary.
liver was very like back and forth of like accepting our family or rejecting it and killing my sister. So like our experience at the Ronald McDonald Factory was like our last
The
hurrah. Yeah.
Ronald McDonald Factory. Nice.
It's just fucking fucking donate to the Ronald McDonald House
it
in
does
the
good.
name of either of our families.
Yeah, dude.
A comfortable night means the difference between
This is a joke. This is
a
a
dead
joke.
sibling
This is
or-
a joke. This is a joke. But donate to the Ronald McDonald House. But put the memo Moist Monday. Like it's. I get the appreciation
out
and
of
the honor.
respect for Robert's dead siblings
Yeah,
and my
but
live
that's
siblings.
so funny. They get a donation that says Moist Monday.
And they gotta be rather like dead Zortman or live white.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
We got a white live over here. We got a white live.
keep him up so he's not a
keep
Zortman.
them up. Keep them up. We keep them up. Keep them wet. Keep them dry. This is the Moist Monday podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
This episode has
It's
been
been a
super,
weird episode. It's been a dry episode, and we
But I also
respect you
really-
all for keeping with it.
I also really I think this was a good one because I did.
This is a weird connecting factor that
Therapy.
you and I have always been conscious of.
But we never really talked about it. And I
That
feel like
our
there- I feel like
family
honestly-
has never talked about.
And I feel like there honestly might be more. But
No, but like your family has met mine and never talked about the fact that we shared a.
well, it was on my
death-
dad. It was on my dad's side.
True, yeah, but it's still.
So
blood
they've never
line,
met
yeah.
my dad's side.
Yeah, no, true.
So cheers to that. Hopefully you can move on to your Moist Monday.
in the
and-
oddest way possible, I'm so happy you're alive, and so am I.
well, I didn't have cancer.
Happy Moist Monday, brother.
Happy Moist Monday.
I love you so much.
Love you so much. Love all ya. Have a good
Hope
moist,
you have a moist Monday.
moist Monday.
Cheers. I tried to give you like a pinpoint.
No,
Yeah.
that's gonna be. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep that all
Yeah.
in.
No, all of that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.